Hey, so I just got off the phone with a client, and I think there's real wisdom in her challenge that she's having right now, and I just wanted to share a little bit about it with you. So, the challenge is all about roadblocks and what do we do when they're in our life, and how we think about them is really going to benefit us as in general, in terms of if we're going to keep giving them power and keep feeling frustrated, or if we can kind of move around them. So the first question is, what is a roadblock? A roadblock is anything that has us feeling like we're spinning our tires a little bit. So in this situation with a client, she's looking for space in order to run a program, and she's looked in kind of every space that you can imagine that she can hold a program in, be it community centers and churches and kind of different places. And she's running into challenges because she wants to keep her budget at a certain standpoint. So then the question is, what do we do when we hit a roadblock like this? So a roadblock could be, in her example, it could be space. Another example of roadblocks that happen a lot in our life is with finances, right? If we want to move forward in something and we don't have the budget in order to do it, we could also have a roadblock in terms of if we're running a company and we have roadblocks in terms of people, or needing people, or needing to hire, or needing to grow. So roadblocks can come in any shape or form. And then the question is, what do we do about it and how do we hold that? And I find that and I mean, I could be honest, I've been here many, many times before myself, and it's hard to really see that we're having the challenges when we are, because we're just so in it, right? Which is why help working and how kind of walking through it with a coach is so incredibly beneficial. So with the roadblock specifically, number one is we want to see kind of how the more that we get frustrated in working with it, the more challenging that it's going to be. For instance, for this client, she's been trying to figure out this roadblock for many months, and she's had kind of bad news after bad news after bad news. And it's really hard not to get into a place of feeling like you're kind of victims of the situation, and really feeling like you're at a place of kind of one down. Well, what happens when we get into a victim place is we feel like there's all these things that are happening outside of our control, and that we're, in essence, like I said, victims to it. And the first part that we want to see is, okay, how much frustration am I putting into this that I could actually, and how much energy could I actually be putting into finding a solution versus being stuck into this situation and stuck into the problem. From there, it's really about kind of taking a deep breath and honoring what is actually inside of my control and what is outside of my control. So having places say, no, we're not able to give you space, is outside of your control. But what's inside of the control is really understanding, well, what is it about that space that, and what their needs are and their wants are, that's not in alignment with yours. Or another thing that would be inside your control is looking at other space or how you hold it, right? And so we just need to kind of get into that. And then from there, we hold on to the attachment for so long about how we think things are going to come to fruition. And by that I mean, have you ever been in a place of your life where you have this vision of how things are supposed to come out, and you're so intimately attached to what that vision is, and you can't accept anything else? Well, that's attachment. And our happiness is dependent on whether that comes to fruition or not. Now, in terms of universal energy and even leadership, is being able to let go of the attachment to that. And what we say to ourselves, our personal mantra is, it's going to be this or it's something better. Sometimes when we're stuck in it and we're just so frustrated and so pissed off, that understanding that it could be something that's better and that the universe is working for us instead of against us can be a really hard concept to accept. But the harder the concept is to accept, the more important that it is to accept. Because intention without attachment to how it's going to come to fruition is where the magic happens. You know, we've all heard that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Well, if that's your case, if you've got something that's happening in your life right now where you feel like you're banging your head up against the wall, my offer and my ask is for you is just to step back a little bit, take a couple deep breaths, and start thinking about, okay, number one, am I attached to the outcome of this? And are there possible solutions that I could be thinking about here, but I'm just so focused and pushing my agenda ahead forward that I'm not even interested or open to seeing anything else? Number three is, what is the lesson in here for me? And that's so important. And often when we first hear this, we're like, there's no freaking lesson. Like, I just need to get this done. But there's always a lesson in a roadblock. And the roadblock is always working for our highest good. Okay, so remember that. Okay, have a good one.